Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Thank you for tuning in today. I am your host. My name is Chad Hasty. That's Rob Bro of the Rob Bro Show, the first voice that, well, if you would be able to call in. Well, our main phone lines are down, but luckily we still have the super secret phone line where guests can call into the program, and joining us on the phones right now to talk about the coronavirus, the impact that it's having on the state of Texas, and the reaction here in the state of Texas. State Representative Dustin Burrows here on the Chad Hasty Show. Representative Burrows, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Chad. Appreciate you having me on the show, and look forward to good conversations this morning. I think there's lots to talk about. Yes,
unfortunately there is, and it's. Let's start off with the governor's press conference yesterday. What is your takeaway from the governor's press conference? How do you think the state has handled the response to the pandemic so far?
Yeah, let me back into that a little bit, Chad. I think the number one goal of every elected leader that I know, whether we're talking from the city, county, state level, all the way up to the president level, is to save lives. And the goal and the strategy to do that is not to overwhelm the hospital system. So what we've seen the governor do is consistently put in place plans to try not to overwhelm the hospital system. We've seen that by decreasing regulations, so we're going to have access to more nurses, more doctors, more hospital beds, trying to increase the capacity to serve. And then, of course, we saw on Friday the executive orders that came out that put in place social distancing. I saw early this morning the U.S. Surgeon General actually kind of made an offhand comment about Texas maybe should do more. And I think there's some pressure, on our governor from the, U.S. level to perhaps go further than the executive order he put in place. But he came out on Sunday, and I very much respect the decision. He's one of the most thoughtful individuals I know, and I'm very glad that he is our governor during this time to make the decisions that he's making. But he said, look, we just did this, on Friday. We just put this in. We need some time to see if it's working or not. There is no way to evaluate whether this was enough or even potentially too much within 48 hours. But we have a system where if there's local government in Dallas County or elsewhere, which is, I bring up Dallas because they did this, that want to go further and do what I think we're now calling a shelter-in-place order, and there's all sorts of varieties of those, they're free to do that. And so that was really kind of the key takeaways from the governor's press conference. We're going to decrease regulation to increase capacity in our healthcare system so we don't overwhelm it, and we're going to spend some more time looking to see what the executive order from Friday actually is going to do with stopping the community spread of the disease.
Representative Burrows, it's almost as though the governor is almost in a no-win situation. If you do a complete shutdown of the state, obviously the economy is just going to be wiped out. I mean, it's going to be very, very harmful on that front. And maybe it saves more lives, maybe it doesn't. There's so many competing things here for the governor in a very diverse state, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, and what we're already doing is hurting the economy. And I'm talking to people daily who have real stress and real anxiety about, either about to lose their job, having lost their job, small business owners. And so, whatever we're doing, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We have hurt the Texas economy.
Yes.
There is going to be a lot of time, hopefully to go back through and Monday morning quarterback all of the decisions. There's no way every decision being made, whatever level, is going to be right. There's 100 decisions being made at the federal or state level every single day with a very complex problem. This is what I do know. We have a very thoughtful governor. He is surrounded by people that I like and respect, and I believe he's getting good information. He does not have knee-jerk reactions, and I trust him to make good decisions and at least have his heart in the right place in making those.
What are you hearing from the business owners and the employees, and particularly in your district? How worried are they, and is there anything they can do right now? I know all eyes are on the federal level and what relief may come in from the federal level. Is there anything on the statewide level they can look towards?
Yeah, two things, right? I mean, you asked me how people are doing. They're stressed out. they have real anxiety, and they should. I mean, maybe they're okay today, but they can look down the road and think in 5 or 6 days, if they're not having revenues into their business, they aren't going to be able to keep things going. And they're putting on a brave face. We have tremendous, tremendous work ethic in West Texas, and so I'm so proud to see, what they're doing and relaying their stories, and people still, going and doing takeout from the restaurants and things of that. That's one sector we all realize has been really impacted by this. And so there's real stress, there's real anxiety, and there's a real need for help because obviously they were in good financial shape before this happened, and now they're not. Now, you asked me about the, kind of correlation between the feds and the state. Let me start with the feds. They print money. I mean, they literally do. Whether you like that or don't like that, in times like this, they are the ones who have the printing machine. We are relying upon them to come up with a huge stimulus plan. And I know the guy on next, Senator Cornyn, I respect the work that they're doing in the Senate and trying to get some things done. And it looks like there's some partisan politics coming from the other side. And hopefully, the other side can lay this down and say, we're not going to do this, because that money has got to get interjected to help the small business owners and people here in West Texas that either are struggling today because they're unemployed or their business is not getting revenue or will be tomorrow. At the state level, we are looking and seeing what all tools are in the toolbox. We had a conference call just last night led by Speaker Bonin with the Texas Comptroller. We've had, I've probably had, I can't even list all the calls I've had even over the weekend looking to see what tools are actually available today, without actually a legislature that's in session that would be available to help with the economy. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to basically just nibble around the edges. You want to come up with a big package and make sure it's meaningful and not just token.
I want to get to you that conference call with Mr. Hager. According to the Texas Tribune, he referred to the state of the economy as, quote, the current recession. Obviously, this is going to have an impact. We don't know what it's going to be because we don't know how long this is going to last. But this, along with oil and other issues, are going to have an impact on the budget. What are you hearing? What can you tell us about not only the budget, but also the Economic Stabilization Fund and how that can be impacted?
Let me tell you first. Right now, my primary concern, and I think most are, public health. That's what the governor and most people are focusing on. Number two, it's going to be the budget of the people that we represent, their home and personal budgets. After that, we've got to talk about what we can do. I already know that we had the appropriations chairman on the call last night, and we're looking at, what money that hasn't been spent at state levels needs to basically be taken back in. I mean, there's going to be a contraction. I think by definition, we probably are in a recession, or we are in a recession depending on how it's defined. That is true. We do not know, and I don't think it's possible to know. I don't think anybody can basically predict what we're going to be dealing with financially and fiscally at a state level 3, 4, 5 months from now. So we have to be looking, or much less next session. So we have to be weighing all of those options, but making sure that our priorities are the people who are hurting in this environment fiscally. We cannot make it worse for them.
Well, let me ask you about that. One of the issues that Comptroller Hager is not doing, he's not pushing back the Friday deadline on sales taxes. A lot of restaurants are saying, "Wait a minute, we need some help here." Apparently, this has been pushed back before with hurricanes and other disasters. Yeah. What do we need to do with this?
Well, first thing, what was relayed to us is you can't do it for just one industry. You have to do it for all industries. And trying to get a handle on what those numbers actually look like, not only for the state, but also for our locals who do, a lot of them rely upon sales tax dollars, especially municipalities, for that. And so those are some of the issues that we were discussing on that call last night, and trying to get our arms around what is actually a tool and what is not a tool, and who needs to be able to hold on to it, and how can you deal with it. This is the one thing I can tell you. If you are listening and you are in that sector or any sector that has been hurt by this, the comptroller does have a number out there that he has made available. And my understanding is if people are calling and requesting an extension, they are routinely granting those.
So there's at least relief on that front, that you can get an extension if needed.
Give them a call. I understand They are doing everything they can to work with them. The Ways and Means Committee oversees the Comptroller's Office. I've had, a lot of interaction, not only with the comptroller, but his staff. They are some of the best people working for the state as far as trying to get it right, to trying to do the right thing by Texans and having an understanding. And so, when it's told to me that they're trying to work to give the people who call and request a need, doing it, I believe that to be happening.
I had a question, Representative Burrows. You obviously we look at what the feds might be doing as far as small government goes. The rainy day fund that is there, is that something that can be tapped into for the business community, or is that only for the state budget? How does that work?
So we need to look at the different restrictions. Here's the thing that I don't want to do. In a time like this, I don't want to give out misinformation or be incorrect by it. I think there's a question about, when we could actually even do that. I'm pretty sure we have to be in session to tap it. And then what it could be used for, I'm not familiar with all of the ins and outs, but I promise you, those things are being looked at, and probably by the end of the week, all things are on the table, Chad.
All right. Representative Dustin Burrows, as always, we appreciate you joining us today, and we hope you and your family stay healthy, and hopefully we'll visit on better terms
Can I
next
say one
time.
more thing?
Yeah, sure.
Chad? Yeah, before I leave, look, anybody out there listening, if they have concerns that, they think that our office could be helpful, just getting them good information or being of service, that's one of the things we're there for. And I just want to make sure everyone has, the number to call. It's 806-795-0635, 795-0635. We want to be helpful during this time. So call us, whether it's with ideas, needs, questions, concerns, and we'll try to be a resource for anybody who calls us.
Very good. Representative Dustin Burrows, appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Chad.
That's State Representative Dustin Burrows here on the Chad Hasty Show. When we come back, your reaction to his phone call will also